Today I'm going to show you a few ideas using our flower fairy set. Now, I always use Trex when I'm rolling out the flower paste. Now, I use flower paste rather than sugar paste because flower paste is a little firmer, and because the arms and legs are quite narrow, you do need to have a firm paste. So work your paste and roll that out. And don't lift it up and down. It's important that this sticks to your board so that the pieces peel away easily. It won't lift into the cutter if you don't lift the paste. Roll that nice and thin, and then take the Trex and just rub quite a lot over the cutter, and then press firmly. I'll cut a couple of shapes out so that you can see the arms and the legs. This one has long legs, and so when you get to anything like little ankles, etc., then put more Trex in there. And press firmly, especially around the outside edge, and a little flick, and then just pull the pieces away all the way around the outside edge to begin with. Hold on to something like the little hand there so that won't stretch out of shape. And then you can use a cocktail stick just to remove any small pieces that you don't need. Hold on to the foot. And then I'm just going to lift them and pop them onto a piece of card. So just a fine knife. This is a very fine bladed knife, and you can just swoop underneath. I'm just going to pop that on there, ready for colouring in a minute. And the other one. Oh, now there's a tiny piece in there that needs to come out, so remove that. And between the shoes. And again, just swoop underneath with your knife. I'm popping that onto a white card, but I'm colouring it up in a minute, so you'll see the colours emerge. Right, so with this part here, the pieces that I had left, I'm going to cut out an extra layer. Now you could leave the one layer that I've got ready here, or you can build up the pieces that appear in the foreground. So in this case, this little one here that I've just used, it would be her hat and probably the front wing. So press over the hat and then again using your stick. Now I'm going to remove the face because the hat would be coming over the face. So it's just literally the little hat that you would take as an extra layer, and remove the back wings. Just take all that away. And that's the back wing. And probably the little sleeve as well. That would be in the foreground because it would be on top of the arm. So you can just take that little sleeve there. So we have those three pieces. Oh, I just squashed the sleeve. There it is. And then just using water, you would moisten the first layer. If I put that back on the green, you'll see it better. Put that to one side. So a little water on the hat, and then pop this layer on top. So it just brings it more into the foreground. A little sleeve. And then the front wing. As I say, you don't have to put those extra layers on. You can just leave it at one layer, but I do think that just makes it a little bit more interesting. So I'll just put that back on the board ready to colour. You can leave them to dry before you colour them, or you can do it straight away, as I'm going to do now. So I have a selection of dust colours here, and I'm going to use isopropyl alcohol mixed in. You can use any colours you like, obviously. And I'm going to start off with the flesh colour. So just put a little of the alcohol in there. And just use a small brush for the small areas. And when you paint, make sure that you get the colour round the cut edge. Don't just put it on the top. So paint that in, make sure that you do get all the way around there. And turn it round, just look at it from all angles. And just use water for cleaning your brush. So I'm going to do I'll do a pink dress. I usually do the dress and the hat and the shoes all to match. So again, just check around the cut edge that you are taking the colour right down and over that edge, especially when they've got a second layer. You don't want to miss anything there. And then the shoes. And then the dress. Now, the alcohol evaporates really quickly, so you do need to keep topping that up. So just go around. They don't take long to do. And the nice thing about it, you can make them and store them so that you've got them ready for your cakes. Now, for the wings, rather than just do a block colour, I like to have a selection of colours. So I'm going to go with a little green. And what I do, I just put dabs of colour over the wings. So I'll go in with a little of the blue. And some yellow. Just choose whatever colours you have in your pot, really. And then I go over with white satin. So I'll just use a different brush for this. And this is the little white satin shiny. And I go over the whole thing, which makes the wings, it just brings all the colours together. It just makes the wings look nice and shiny. And then I will put that onto a sponge pad to dry. You can do shadings if you want to, but usually if you're doing them for a child's cake, you've got lots to do and you may not have time to go to all that bother. Now, this is one I've made earlier. It's dried, and you can see here I've done a blue fairy, just one layer. I haven't put any extra layers on there, but I have done the wings exactly the same. If you do a second layer, then you can always just lift that edge up, or you could even frill it before you put it on, just to separate them out a little bit. You may prefer to do something like that, but you'd leave them up to dry. And so again, I have a selection. Just reach forward for these. This is the little one that I cut out. Oh no, this isn't. This is the one I cut out earlier. So we have that one again with pink, and a very fine brush just to paint in the eyes and the mouth. This one's got rather large eyes, but hey, that's all right. So you would leave them to dry, and then I'm going to put them onto some cookies. So I've cut out some heart-shaped cookies, And I'm using the heart shape rather than trying to cut out around a fairy shape. They'd just be too fiddly. So I'm using the heart shape, and then I've cut out a same size sugar paste heart, and I've attached that with, you can use buttercream or piping jelly. And then I'm going to paint some alcohol with green and just paint on a fine stem. So just go around, following the shape of the heart, and then a few little leaves along there. And a little bit of green at the bottom, so you can just paint on some little dots and lines just to represent grass. You probably won't see much of that anyway. And then I'm just going to use a little piece of sugar paste this time, not flour paste, but just take a small piece and roll it into a ball, and then with water attach that onto there, press that down, and then you can just place your little flower fairy on there. So I'll use this one. And that can go on there. And I've also cut out some little flowers. Same, you get the cutter in with the set. Just reach for that. So you get a little arrangement of flowers, and then you can attach those on. I think I've just lost a leaf, but never mind, that's all right. Not the end of the world. So you can attach that on again with sugar paste, a little ball of sugar paste, not flour paste, because that's too firm for sticking things on. So we'll just put that on there. So I'm just going to paint a few little blue dots up here to represent the blue flowers. It just takes the colour to the top of the cookie. So add a little alcohol to that, and you don't have to do anything very artistic, just a few little taps with your brush, and that's enough to look as though it's continuing the colour around the top. And then you could write somebody's name on there for the party. So if you're going to put them on cupcakes, then you do need to have them, you can put them on flat, but they're quite large for a cupcake. If you want to stand them up, you need to have a support behind them. And so I would suggest that you make a little mushroom. So I've just made these little mushroom like this. And I'll just show you how to make one of those quickly. So you take a piece of, it can be just sugar paste, and taper it down and press round, press the top so it's flat. So you have that shape, has like a little waist to it. And then take a piece of pink or whatever colour you want to do the mushrooms. You do actually get mushroom cutters for flat mushrooms to go around the side of the cake, and you get those in the set. Don't want too much for this top, it's a bit heavy. Right, so roll it round, and then in the palm of your hand, press down with the heel of your thumb into the palm of your other hand. So that thins the edges, and then just go around a little more, bringing up the centre. And a little water on the top, and pop that on. You can just bring the edges up a little bit. And then leave that to dry. And when it's dry, literally alcohol with white dust colour, and just paint some little dots on. You can cut them out if you want to, but it's much quicker to just paint them. And so that can be attached on top of your cupcake. And then I've just popped on a couple of little flowers, and using some of the sugar paste to support the fairy. So whether you use pink, or I'll use the pink so you won't see it so much at the back. A little water on there. And again, just pop that on the side. And again, you can have your mushrooms made well in advance of you needing them. Have them all ready and dried. And so your little fairy can be attached to the top of your cupcake, like so. And the mushroom acts as a support. So in the pack, you also get the large toadstool house. And I've cut this one out in flour paste, painted it exactly the same way I've done the fairies, and I've attached it onto the cake while it's still soft. So if it's going on a round cake, you do need to paint it and attach it straight away, otherwise it would be sticking out at the sides, which would be okay for a square cake, but not for a round cake. So that's onto a tiered cake, and you can see here the little mushrooms that you get in the pack. There's one at the back here. But I'm also going to show you about the cookies, just explain about those. I'll just put this to one side. So for cookies, then what I've done, I've rolled out the dough, and I've just embossed the cutter into the dough and then cut round with a knife. And sometimes the chimney falls off, sometimes it stays on. It still looks okay without a chimney, and I'll show you one later when it's finished without a chimney. But yeah, cut round with a sharp knife, and then when they're baked, just going to put that to one side. I make the top the top of the cookie with sugar paste, not flour paste, because the flour paste would dry too hard. So again, roll out your sugar paste and emboss the house into it, cut round with a knife, and then you can put those on top of your cookie. It's much nicer to eat the sugar paste, not the flour paste on its own. So once that's on there, then you would mix your alcohol and dust and paint exactly the same as I've done before. Just paint in all the areas that you want. That's my little top that's come loose on the chimney there. So you can have a look at one without the chimney there. And then you can add your flower fairies and flowers to that. So I'm just going to use a small piece of sugar paste. It's just to give you an idea. My little granddaughter loves this little house. When I asked her which was her favourite, she said the house. So you can put flowers there, or you can put a little fairy. I would have to move that up a little bit, so put that behind there. And you can put a little fairy on there. Just use your water for sticking, and maybe some flowers on the opposite side. So you can leave them plain, or you can just make them a little bit more fancy. Pop that on, like so.